For those that were born after 1980, 85, they'll get a chance to kind of see and feel what America was like back during that time. And for those that were born before, you get reminded of how America was and what America can be.
Well, I'm really excited because I'm excited about a great man by the name of Ronald Reagan. And I was blessed, by the way, to meet him. I was blessed because of Billy Graham called it a prayer meeting that let me actually go to him and convince him he had to run for president because he wasn't going to. But this is all a miracle. And then, you know, I hosted a meeting where he said, I know you all, great Christian people, leaders from all over the country, this is bipartisan, you can't endorse me, but I only said that because I endorse you. And that was headlines nationwide. Well, we've got the great actor that has played some of the greatest films that we'll ever see. And I can only imagine it's one of them because I walked that whole story while it was going on. And then all of a sudden it comes up on the screen and did a great job. Dennis Quaid is here. Dennis, I just got to ask you. By the way, I put this coat on because I'm kind of honoring Reagan, you know. By the way, it was in the same time he came along, I started preaching against ties. And I got every preacher set free from ties and tried to set churches free from having to have a tie to go to church.
Right.
But Reagan, he deserved a little respect here. Okay, I got to know this. You've made some great movies. You're a great actor. You're very gifted. And you've made it clear that you care about people. You love them. You want the best for them. And you believe there's a God that knows how to deliver the best. And you don't apologize for that. Your feelings about the Reagan film and the privilege and the honor of getting to do the part?
First off, it was such a privilege, probably the biggest privilege I've had as an actor, really. And the response, even before the movie comes out, is kind of never had before. We've been doing so many previews around the country for it. And I was offered to play Reagan by Mark Joseph, who's been carrying the torch for it back in,
He's been
I think
here.
It was 2018, I think it was. And it was 2 years getting it there, but I did not say yes at first because I was very intimidated, let's put it. Reagan was my favorite president. And I think he was the greatest president of the 20th century, really. He won the Cold War. That was number one. And, made America America again, really.
He saved freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
He really did. He gave freedom an extension.
Well, like you said, all those freedoms that we have, they could be lost in a generation. We never really quite understood that until recently, to tell you the truth. But I didn't say yes for quite a while because, go through feelings of not feeling worthy for it. I didn't want to. Reagan is so known around the world, like Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows who he is, and I didn't want to do an impersonation, and I didn't really see myself. Didn't think I looked like him or sounded like him or anything, but I got to thinking, and we both have sunny dispositions, which he did, and we're both actors. And but I went to the Reagan Ranch. I was able to go up there. Have you ever been there?
Not just only briefly, just like right through.
Yeah, but instantly, you go up 5 miles of the worst road in California to get there, and it's on top of the mountain. And as soon as you came through the gate, I could feel him. And that was the thing I was looking for, was to feel the man. And I realized that Reagan was a very humble man.
Very.
And I could see it in his ranch up there. Because he had done all the work himself. He could do that. They had the house is like less than 1,200 square feet. And they had a king-size bed, but it was 2 single beds zip tied together. And their clothes are in the closet. They left it exactly how you expect them to come back, he and Nancy.
Well, I got to ask you this, because I've seen the films and clips, and we're going to see a trailer. But I heard you tear this wall down. And see, I had been there where that needed to be said. And I knew how bad it needed to be torn down because I went to all the third world countries as I was preaching, ministering, doing mission work. But I was actually there when they began to tear the wall down.
I was too.
And I asked the people tearing it down, what brought this down? And every one of them, either side of the wall, soldiers, it was prayed down. It was prayed down. And then Reagan basically said that. But when you said that, tear this wall, did you feel the moment?
Yeah. Yes, I did. We shot that moment. It was out on the street in Oklahoma. They recreated it around it. But I myself, I was there. I was, I was the first grade when they put the wall up. And it was a similar moment in, I think, all of our lives, the baby boom generation. Back when they had drills to get in under our desks and stuff for nuclear attack. And the Cuban Missile Crisis, Houston, where I grew up, that was in range. We got kept home from school. And so when I heard that the Berlin Wall was coming down, which just even 2 years before, nobody could even imagine that. And got right on a plane and went to Berlin from New York. Yeah. Just dropped everything and went there. And I actually got to take a sledgehammer and you got pieces of the wall. I remember the guards were walking around with their German shepherds that were trained to attack, and the dogs didn't know what to do. But it was the greatest feeling.
And I've got pieces of it in my office
Ronald
and pieces
Reagan
of it in my home.
And Lech Walesa and prayer mostly.
Yeah, and that's it. But let me ask you this: what stands out? If you could say to everybody watching us right now, what do you want people to take away from this movie when they see it?
Number one, I want them to be entertained, because that's what movies are for us to go into a dark room and really go into another world and forget about the rest of the day and get immersed. And I hope they learn something about Reagan, that, because I learned a lot. But it's really about, for those that were born after, let's say, 1980, 85, something like that, they'll get a chance to kind of see and feel what America was like back during that time. It was an incredible time to live through. And for those that were born before, you get reminded of how America was and what America can be.
Well, I know because the military met with me, and once they found out that Reagan liked me and listened to me, they really wanted me to be sure he was hearing certain things. And I know for a fact from the military and the CIA and all that could be trusted, to be honest, that the Soviet Union had set the stage to literally take over within less than 24 to 36 months, the entire world economy. And what happened there was back when they made fun of the Star Wars and the possibility of taking it down, the fact was, well, if we get this laser, we take the missiles down before they reach altitude, and it comes right down where they're launched. So I was able to introduce Mr. Reagan to that possibility, and the scientists had confirmed it. So anyway, he did save freedom.
He really did, and it was through, he had really that plan well before he took office.
He did.
That the key to the Soviet Union was bankrupting them in a sense, because they had nowhere near our economy, not even a tenth of the size, really. And that was it was a patient plan that worked. He didn't even talk to the Soviets for the first 5-6 years of his presidency, because they kept dying on him.
It was a miracle. We need another miracle like that. What was it that you want people to know and take away from the video? What's the biggest thing that you saw and happen?
Well, our story is not just recounting history and events and that. It's really getting inside, in depth of the man Reagan, who was a man. He was my hero and stuff, but he was also a man. And the love story, I think, with Nancy is very central to this movie. They had an incredible love story, and nobody knew him like she did. And yet, I came to find that there was something that I heard, which was kind of a common thing with people who knew Reagan, that there was a part of him that was unknowable, in a sense. There was a private place inside him that was kind of a mystery to people. And I think part of that was his relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly
and
right.
That's what I came to conclude. But here was the great communicator, and he's really intensely private person at the same time.
Well, you know, when I had the privilege of talking to him, you can see a picture of when we'd just gotten up off our knees in a small hotel room in Atlanta, and we'd had an incredible time of prayer, and somebody snapped the picture. But that's when he knew he had to run for president. But I had asked him this question. I said, who's the greatest person that you've ever known? Who's made the greatest impact on you in your life? And he said, well, you know, my father was an alcoholic, so I didn't really have a father. And I said, well, mine was too. And he said, so my mother was the greatest person I ever knew. She had the greatest impact on my life. And I said, well, that's really wonderful. And he said, but it referred to Jesus as being the greatest person. But that was an amazing thing to realize. He was a very unusual person, and he never wanted to get credit. A lot of the people around him that helped him defeat the Soviet Union,
in fact, he
they
said,
didn't really want credit either.
Yeah, he said, you know, you can get a lot done in Washington if you don't care who gets the credit.
Well, would you agree right now that if we don't move away from the trends that are throwing out all the principles of our founders, all the biblical truth, all the historically confirmed principles, if we don't come back to those principles, the future of freedom is short?
I think in peril. I mean, in a way, it reminds me very much of the year 1979, 78, 79, 80, very much like today. A lot of the same things going on. The same forces taking place, and it's kind of spooky. And Reagan came along and reminded us who we were, and really it was inspiring. And
you think think viewers will be inspired when they see this?
Well, I hope
think
so.
They will.
I hope so. I really do.
Let's see a trailer. I want to say, watch this. I think this will get your attention.
I will be frank with you that as a citizen, I would not like to see any political party outlawed on the basis of its ideology, because I still believe, Mr. Chairman, that democracy can handle it.
I was a brand new KGB officer, given my first intelligence assignment. A certain actor and union leader.
Dutch, there's a purpose for your life.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're gonna have to stand up to him.
It's my boy!
There's about to be another war right here in Hollywood. The commies on one side, the mob on the other. And you're right in the middle, son.
If you put as much work into your career as you do making your speeches, you'd have an Oscar by now.
Hello, I'm Nancy Davis.
Hello, Nancy Davis. I'm Ron Reagan.
I'm curious, Ron.
What would you say is the issue of our time?
No question about it. Communism and the Soviet Union.
Get in the game. Run for office.
It's you!
I'm running for governor, and I would like your vote.
I forgot your name.
Do his initials help, or R?
Honey, Roy Rogers is here! And he's running for governor!
Ronnie, remember when we met? You told me that you wanted to make a difference in this world. You know what you have to do.
Governor Reagan again, typically, is against such a proposal.
There you go again.
But he was not afraid to take us on.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president.
Now you can do a thing or two.
Welcome to your life.
I was a lifeguard on a river.
There's no turning back.
And I learned how to read the currents. Not just the ones on the surface, but also the ones deep underneath the water. I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not gonna fire a single shot.
You're gonna blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad,
you just wait?
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wants to rule the world.
Wow.
That's Penelope Ann Miller. She's playing Nancy, and I couldn't ask for a better person to be playing. She was Nancy. She really was.
When he said, I know you can't endorse me, but I endorse you, and that was headlines. Well, he called me from the ranch the next day, and we talked 40 minutes. But I had to talk to Nancy 20 because he had another call. And she was almost tearful. She said, James, I've never seen Ron so excited. He said, Nancy's the greatest night of my life. And he said, what I saw was unbelievable. He saw people who love God, who love business. He's for free market. We brought the wealthiest people in the South also to be there with him that were capitalists and free market people. And it was just so phenomenal. And his speech was incredible. You can get it online. Just watch the National Affairs briefing, listen to it. But I'm telling you that Nancy was a tremendous encouragement to him.
Yeah.
And boy, that fight, it was there. Look, go see the movie.
If there had been for Nancy, there would not have been a President Reagan.
No, there would not have been.
No, but
period.
Let's not take anything away from him. It's just the strength that he drew from that relationship that both of them had. And, God was in their relationship as well. And it's something else.